Hi, Robin.
Good morning, Lena. The makeup process in this film was unbelievable. You were almost unrecognizable.
Yeah, a lot of people walk out of the movie and they don't know that it's me, which is great because that's what we were really striving for obviously, because when Steven first called me about this movie, he called me about the character of Ilana, the writer of the book on which the trial is based, and he pointed out that when we first see her in the trial, she's only 20 years old, and then she goes to being my age today. So I read the script, and I found that that was going to be quite impossible to do, but I fell in love with the character of her mother, and I called Steven. I said, I want to try and play the mother. And he said, that's going to be tricky, but they had Ivana come in from London, our wonderful makeup artist for the movie, and we did some screen tests, and everyone said, no, it's going to work. You know, it's not going to be like a stunt. It's really going to work to have you play it.
Tell me what the makeup process was like, and then what you thought when you first saw yourself in the mirror.
The makeup process for something is kind of tedious because, you know, they worked a lot with glue, that they stretch your skin and then they glue this little bar, and obviously more extremely skillful makeup artists, and we also had special effects makeup artists who were amazing. So it takes time. But what you feel is like when you look at yourself, when you look that way, you start feeling that way a little bit. And on set, actually, in Germany, when we did the trials, people treated me differently because I was this little old lady, and it was actually fascinating to see.
Did you look at all like your mother, your grandmother?
A little bit like my mother, I would say. A little bit, yeah.
That is so interesting. Now, did you learn anything new about the Holocaust in doing your research?
I must have. I can't point out anything specific, but first of all, I grew up in Europe where we actually read and study about the Holocaust before we're 10. We know about the Second World War and what went on. Unlike here, when you do that so much later. And then I have also played another survivor in another movie called Enemies: A Love Story in 1990. That's a Paul Mazursky movie, and he brought us to New York 2 months ahead of shooting just to meet with survivors. And in 1990, you could actually meet people in a lot of restaurants downtown. They had a bunch of survivors working, and we had long conversations with these people, and it was fascinating. It was really interesting.
Do you remember the most shocking story that you heard that will never leave you?
Well, but there's always, you know, there's so many, so it's impossible. Everything is so shocking. But the most shocking thing is that, you know, there were a few sick monsters doing this, but there were hundreds and hundreds of just regular people who committed these crimes that are impossible to understand. And that's the most shocking thing, and that's why I think we have to return to this period in time and to other periods in time when things like this have happened, because we need to stay very much aware of that this is something that actually can happen.
Well, what about this generation? Do you think that they too will never forget like the generation before them?
I hope so. I hope so, because we cannot forget, because then it will happen again, I guess.
That wouldn't be a good thing.
No.
Not at all. Really quick, in my last minute, what are your holiday plans this year?
We're going to go, I live in New York, and we usually go to Vermont for the holidays. But this year, we're going to go to Switzerland and stay with a very close friend of ours. And we're going to have Swedish Christmas food for the first time in years, because I've been living in America for 14 years now, and I've not had Swedish Christmas food for so long. So I'm so excited to enjoy a real Swedish Christmas dinner.
Well, have a happy holiday. Lovely speaking with you.
You too.